Jai Hind students. This is module number 2 of the chapter Understanding Media. In the previous module, we had discussed about as to what is media, how we understood how media and money are related to each other, and how in the recent years technology has gradually changed, and now we can see more clear pictures. The sound quality is also very good if we compare it with the past. So, in this module, we'll be discussing about media and democracy. So, let us start. Now, in a democracy, media plays a very important role in providing news and discussing the events that take place in the country and the world. And some of the ways in which they do is by writing letters to the concerned minister, or organizing a public protest, or starting a signature campaign, and thus the government has to rethink and change its policies. So this we had already discussed in class 7 and 6, that if a particular policy of a government or if a particular law is not liked by the people as a large, they criticize the policies, and then the government has to rethink and change the policies they have already decided. Then the role the media plays in providing information, it is also very important that the information should be balanced. Now here we have to understand what is a balanced report. So in the book it is written, a balanced report is one that discusses all points of view of a particular story, and then it leaves it to the readers to make up their minds. There is also a example given in the book where the same news event is given in different newspapers, but there are two different versions. Now let us see what is that. The first news is of, but in reality what happens is that media is not independent. It is because of two reasons. The first is that the control the government has on the media, and there have been various instances where the government tries to control the media, like when the government prevents a certain song or a certain song not to be shared, or it deletes a particular lyrics of a song, or it deletes some scenes of a movie. We all know that it is referred as censorship, and there have been many periods in the Indian history when the government has censored the media, and the worst of this was the emergency between 1975 and 1977, which is also mentioned in the book. Now, while covering the government, the government does censor films, but in reality it does not censor the media's coverage of news. Despite the absence of censorship, most newspapers still fail to they provide a balanced story. Again, this also happens. Why? Because big business houses, they control the media. It is always the big business houses who own this, and at times it happens that the houses focus on their story or their side of the story, and media tries not to report against those people who give them advertisements. Like we all know that if there would be no advertisements, there would be no money coming to these people. So we can say that media is no longer independent because of its close link with the business. The next topic which is there is setting agenda. Now, what is setting agenda? The media plays a very important role in deciding what stories to focus on, and therefore it decides what to publish, what is newsworthy, which is good. For example, the annual function at our school is not going to make the news, but if a famous actor is invited as a chief guest in some a particular event, then the media would be interested in covering that. So, by focusing on particular issue, the media influences our thoughts, our feelings and actions, and it brings those issues to our attention. Thus, we can say that media sets the agenda by shaping our thoughts. Then in the book it is mentioned that recently the media drew our attention in the alarming level of pesticides in the cola drinks. They published reports that indicated the high level of pesticides, and thus made us aware of the need to regularly monitor these colas according to the international quality and safety standard. This had also happened with Maggie. I hope you all remember 2-3 years back. They did this despite the government's resistance by boldly declaring that the colas were unsafe. And in covering this story, the media positively helped us to focus on an issue that affected our lives and that we might not even be aware of it, and it would be affecting our health because we would be having that drink. But there have been several instances when the media fails to focus on an issue which are very significant in our lives, like for example, drinking water is a major problem in our country, and every year thousands of people die because of not having safe drinking water. But it is very rare that the media discusses these things. But a well-known Indian journalist wrote of how the fashion week, in which clothes designers showed their new creations to the rich people, formed the front page of the headlines of the newspaper, while there were things like several people were dying because of the slums getting demolished in Mumbai, and it was not even mentioned in the newspapers. So, if we can say that sometimes the media does not discuss few important issues. This is for this module. We will be discussing about this in the live class. Till then, thank you.